Huh?
Instead of fantastic technology,
Well, show your face, James. Where are you?
common sense, rationality, and a scientific.
We're live.
I don't see it.
Yep.
Huh?
I found it. Yeah, we are live. What's up, guys? There we go.
We're live.
We're live. We did it. Yep. Okay. Okay, guys. What's up, guys? What's going on? So here it is.
And now's the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead. And now's the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead. And now's the time when.
So you guys hear that, right? Biden just said a new world order. A new world order. What does that mean? What does that mean to you, folks? What is the New World Order? I probably won't. I mean, you guys want to talk about it or not?
Hold on, I think we're having some technical difficulties.
Uh-oh. What difficulties are we having?
James.
Oh.
He's not with us right now.
Uh-oh. We seem to have lost one. What's up? Hello, Nero. Hi. Yes, I'm Nero from Dap Center. Welcome to our live stream. Give us a thumbs up. Also, subscribe if you have not done so already. I guess Cap's going to have to sit this one out.
Things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there.
You hear?
We've got to lead. Now's the time.
For some ungodly reason.
That's all right. You don't have to show your face. You'll be the anonymous one.
In between.
Okay. So what do you think? New World Order, go.
I mean, it's all conspiracies. There's all kinds of hearsay, and there's all these different theories. But I think just the key thing here is that they're looking to consolidate things. They're looking for power grab, which is it happens throughout history every time, all the time. So, not surprised.
So does the New World Order exist? Is it real or not? Yes or no?
Theoretically, yes.
Okay,
what
Jay, Pat, what do you think?
is there? I mean, is there any evidence that suggests it's not real? I mean, it seems like.
Well, it's right here.
Like it is.
We've got to lead.
I mean, Joe Biden just said it. There's a New World Order out there,
so
and we need to be the ones to lead it. So, what the thing is kind of like what is the New World Order, and that's what's subject to interpretation. There's like people who think that NWO is really bad, and I personally think the NWO does exist. It's real. It's existed for hundreds of years. The Illuminati has been around for a long time. They are the enlightened ones. They were the founders of this country, and they believe that eventually, their goal is to bring globalization to the whole world. They want to make the United States like the whole world, like the governance of the whole world. Have like a one world government. Bring new order and actual like try to make the world a better place. I mean, they have good intentions, of course. but then there's these conspiracies because there is in one of their commandments is they wanted to maintain the population to 500 million people in balance with nature, which that would be like a 90% reduction in the current world's population, which that would be bad, right? So that's why that has that negative vibe. And apparently there is propaganda, like Russian propaganda. I've even seen it, like Putin has talked about it, that they actually say are trying to combat, like Putin might be the actual good guy in combating the New World Order if the New World Order is this monster evil conspiracy that's going to, try to exterminate 90% of the planet. You get where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's where you have to be careful though, because I've been watching TikTok. I watch like TikTok or YouTube for like an hour a day, up to 3-4 hours a day, and like the amount of propaganda that I see now is just crazy. You have to be really careful because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Let's see what's going on in the chat here, folks. What do you guys think? Is New World Order real? What do you know about the New World Order? It's possible that the New World Order could be, and this is kind of where I think Russia is actually trying to paint or try to make United States look bad, is because they're using this, that they have bio labs in Ukraine and Georgia that are from the United States or funded by the United States, and that they're doing experiments on vaccines and this, that, and that eventually they're going to try to say, oh, the United States, and they're going to try and make it look like the United States is responsible for COVID-19 and stuff like that.
Where are these at?
You haven't been seeing the news?
Where did you say they were again?
Russia is trying to say, they reported like in one of those, like it was like a, wasn't NATO meeting, but it was like in the UN or United Nations or whatever. They said that United States had bio labs in Ukraine, and they were doing these type of experiments or whatever with bio labs, and the United States like pulled the bio labs out after the Ukraine invasion or whatever.
Well, yeah, I saw that. I didn't catch where you said they were. My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly where they were in Ukraine, but I just heard they were in Ukraine. I've also heard that they were in Georgia too, and that's part of the reason why Putin's been trying to invade like Ukraine and Georgia and all that, is because of these bio labs or whatever. I don't know. I don't buy it. You can't always trust what you hear, and especially during times of war, and especially knowing that a lot of this propaganda. I mean, we're in a situation where we are in a psychological warfare with Russia and a propaganda warfare. And it's pretty much a proxy war. There's a few proxy wars going on right now. I mean, we watched that video.
Now's the time when things are shifting.
We already saw this.
There's going to be a new world order
out
out
here.
there. And we've got to lead.
I was talking about this one because there's another war that nobody's really talking about, and that's the war that's happening in Yemen right now. And this is another proxy war that seems to be being fought between the United States, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and possibly China. All right, let's take a look at this.
Is that it's not even just American military that are there, but it's mercenaries. So the UAE and Saudi Arabia come together and hire American special forces to go into this region. And I just find this endlessly fascinating.
And when you say
we had-
special forces, are you referring to like Blackwater and things like that? Or are you referring to our actual on the salary, on the dole of the United States military?
These are independent businesses. Spear Group. Here's Spear Group specifically out of Delaware.
Mercenaries.
Back in 2018, I remember the story because I was I wanted to do something about it back then on a show that I was on, but we didn't end up doing it. But anyway,
Spear Group Security
is a group out of Delaware.
So you're talking
they're hired
mercenaries.
Oh yeah, these guys are hired. You can go there right now and hire them. You can go to Spear Group and hire these guys to make your successful, whatever you want to do. You can hire these guys to fly in, and here they are.
Not to kill people. This says like they'll, run security at your conference.
Exactly. But what they do is they are hired mercenaries. Here are the Spear Group. They were flown into Yemen.
Is that Dave Bautista?
To go and assassinate leaders on the Houthi side. Hired by the UAE to go into Yemen and on assassination missions. BuzzFeed News did
So we have
some
U.S.
reporting on this.
Citizens,
story.
private
And
soldiers
illegal.
fighting in Yemen
Like
right now.
even though the United States State Department says, hey, if you're not in this war, if you're not a United States citizen, you can't be involved in war. You in another country, you can't go and kill people.
Yeah, they're trying to pass a
attack
law.
people, and yet this is what's happening. And when BuzzFeed contacted the State Department about it, they're like, nobody's doing that. And then they called back a few hours later. They're like, yeah, it turns out they are doing that. And wow, we didn't know that. And nothing's happened to them.
On whose dollar, though?
On UAE, United Arab Emirates, who, by the way, we can just think of it as a proxy dollar, right?
But then that might explain why in the most recent budget bill, which passed just last week,
By the way,
which
guys,
was
this is
the
Morning
intention was only to increase the debt limit, so the United States could continue operating. But stuffed into that bill was a little nugget that American citizens can no longer be hired guns on behalf of foreign governments.
Right.
So now that's why the hell was that in a budget bill? But it was, right? So this must be maybe part of that reaction.
But this is how we get in there without actually being in there. We love these proxy wars, right? Again, I just come back to Adam Schiff's comments. Let me play Adam Schiff's comments again. But this doesn't just mean for Ukraine. This is all over the world. This is what we love to do.
The United States aids Ukraine and her people so that we can fight Russia over there and we don't have to fight Russia here.
Right.
Proxy
So
war.
that's what we get to do in Yemen.
Wait a
7
minute.
years of a bloody war that we can funnel weapons and money to, but we don't actually have to be involved.
But that's
How
the
hypocritical.
same.
How hypocritical, because they're saying that we don't want to fight Russia here. However, Saudi Arabia has already been here, and they just beheaded like 80 some people recently. So they've been here and attacked us on 9/11, and they're our ally. Yet we don't want Russia here, but we're still working with Saudi Arabia even after that.
But I mean, the thing is, I was going to say,
Yeah.
in Yemen, we are fighting Russia in Yemen. I mean, it is a proxy war. It's not just us versus Yemen. It's
Right.
us versus Iraq and Iran
Iran.
and Russia. Yeah. And so it is a proxy war that is like I think I brought it up like last week, where this is like a mini world war because you have so many other actors involved in it.
Yeah.
That
Saudi Arabia,
Can we
United.
stop calling it like that it's just a conflict over there? I mean,
Right.
these are world wars. Like, I tweeted.
Yeah, what
about this,
is
like,
the Yemen
you're
war?
right,
Nobody
that's
knows
not
what
a
this,
world
but this
war.
is actually
Even now where you
happening.
live in your cushy little Twitter apartment or your Martha's Vineyard house, but it is. Maybe it's not where you live
For a couple years now.
Iowa, but it is
2014.
a world war, because I'm going to show you the data.
Since
in just a second.
2014.
I'm going to show you the money that's been flowing in here. So the foreign money that's I put a little chart together that I built. So this is the foreign money that went into Yemen. Okay? So under Obama, who wanted to support the Saudi Arabians, Obama was the first to go in and offer $126 billion worth of weapons deals to Saudi Arabia. Right?
Whoa.
Went over there. He was really the first one to do the big ring,
It's a
ring
mess.
kissing.
Look at all
for
that
Saudi Arabia.
division. There's like
So he goes in,
multiple civil wars
offers
going
up
on.
126 billion. Then Trump comes along,
1.26 billion.
offers up 110 billion. Of course, we
Holy
remember that
shit.
huge.
Wait. Not 126 billion, 1.26
Yeah,
billion.
1.26 billion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 1.2. It's 1.26.
Yeah, okay, I can read. You're right.
Then it goes to 110 billion dollars from Trump. Remember Trump did
Damn.
that whole like whoop-de-doo when he went there and he did like the sword dance. It was his first big, real foreign trip, and it was a whole pomp and circumstance with the crown prince. And
Not really. What did Melania wear?
I don't know, but I was live that whole morning covering it. The touchdown.
I remember,
meeting.
yes.
You remember this now?
Yeah.
And you remember Jared Kushner meeting with the crown prince. They became good friends, the young prince.
Yes.
Negotiating weapons contracts on their behalf. He did a whole sword dance. You guys remember that? Where President Trump did the sword dance?
Yes.
Really awkward. He was given all sorts of robes that have tiger skins inside of it, like Bengal tigers, by the way, that are like nearly extinct. But here you go. We're going to kill. Here you go. Here's a robe that has Bengal tiger skin inside of it. All these lavish gifts. He offers up. It was 110, if memory serves, it was $110 billion deal. Let me pull up my notes here. $110 billion.
Yeah,
yes, $110 billion for the Saudi arms deal. What ended up, of course, going towards this massive quagmire in Yemen.
What that money used for? They used it to buy weapons.
Let's go back to my little dingus here, my little
for war.
I call
them. Give them all the Afghan stuff that we left.
So right. My little chart. So,
well, we gave it to the Taliban.
110 billion is what Trump did. Now, Biden had an opportunity. He was running on this idea that we're going to end this Saudi war, this Trump-Saudi war, as he was calling it, in Yemen. Right, but what has he done?
Maybe we'll bring that up in the next live stream. We'll talk about the Afghanistan
and now,
situation.
Instead of giving 110 billion or 1.26 billion, what the Biden administration has basically done is made our arms to that region. So this past week, because we have not been able to secure this oil deal and getting the oil deal taken care of. President Biden said, you know what?
Give us a like if you're enjoying the
We'll just give you what you want.
We're just going to send you weapons for
give
free.
Us for thumbs up, likes, like and subscribe.
So that's where we're at. Right now, President Biden had made all sorts of promises about this when he was campaigning, that we were going to end this disaster. We were going to stop this proxy war. He said that at the beginning, that we were going to announce this end for the U.S. support Saudi-led invasion of Yemen. Did not happen, has not happened, and continues to this day.
Well, and also
so when we talk about no end in sight in Ukraine, right? Like, oh, we don't know. This has got to be over soon because we're all paying attention. But we don't mind that there's no end in sight for Yemen. Go ahead, David, please.
Well, I was just going to say I wanted to clarify that it actually wasn't yet, because I didn't think when Philip said that Russia was involved with Yemen. It's Syria that Russia was bombing, not Yemen.
Yeah, Russia's in Yemen. Yeah.
Syria is another one.
I mean, it is
another proxy war.
They're not bombing Yemen. They're friends with Yemen. I just
they're with the friends with the Yemenis government. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is a proxy war. Russia is definitely in Yemen bombing. They're bombing each other. Everybody's bombing everybody over there.
And we get to pretend like our hands are not involved in it, right? Yet there are U.S. special forces. So I mean, just look at
day and age of technology and information and messages being sent in literally seconds and access to millions and millions of particles of information and data at the touch of our hands. So much goes on in the world that we don't know even a quarter of it.
Yeah. This World War could be a World War III. It's been going on for decades, you know.
Well, I mean, think about it. Even nowadays, you know, it's what, 70, almost 80 years ago since the Second World War, and most people think that the Second World War started in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. But in reality, Japan started the war in 1930, something like that. Don't get my numbers wrong, but, you know, something like that, 10 years prior when they invaded China and Manchuria. So, you know, even nowadays, it happened years ago. Some people are still misinformed to an extent. It depends on technicalities, of course, but, you know, still same concept.
Right.
So, yeah, like you said, World War III, like you said, could have started even during the Cold War, and we really don't even know. We probably won't ever know.
Yeah, and just to really touch on the subject on the Yemen, this is this is actually showing the kids going to school. This is their going to school in Yemen. Like
This
there's
classroom.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's their classroom. Yeah, that's crazy. There's a huge hole. That's like dangerous.
Can you imagine
Well,
your
can we
kids going
call
to
it-
this
I
school?
have a sound.
Can we call it what it actually is? The genocide?
So inappropriate, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
Over a
you
war.
can call it that. I mean, because we're going to get into some
Say
data
it.
in a moment that's
No,
going
I
to
can't.
solidify that point.
Yes, you can.
What's that?
And boom goes the dynamite.
Boom.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
Oh my god, that was great. You are terrible.
I know. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate the compliment.
So you guys ready to get into the whole inflation thing? I was actually really watching this video you sent it to me. I'm gonna start from the beginning. I want to watch it again because it was actually really interesting.
Yeah,
Let's start at this point.
Get 10% off your first purchase of a custom domain or email address at hover.com/Wendover. COVID-19, that's the answer. That's what caused all the shortages of 2020 and 2021. That's it.
Shortages.
COVID-19 caused these shortages in the same way that an iceberg caused the Titanic to sink, or the collapse of Lehman Brothers caused the Great Recession, or the straw broke the camel's back. That's really to say, COVID did cause these shortages. They would not have happened in the manner they did when they did, if not for the pandemic. But just as the Titanic's design flaws would eventually lead to calamity, the vulnerabilities in the global economy would eventually lead to a recession, and something would eventually break the overloaded camel's back, COVID caused these shortages, but it's not what made them possible. What made them possible is a fundamental structural vulnerability in the way today's supply chains work. On April 13th, 2021, Boba Bliss, a small bubble tea shop in Dublin, California, posted on Facebook. They claimed they were having a hard time getting their ingredients, and that this would mean their menu would have to change daily, reflective of what they could actually get from their supplier. On April 15th,
There's been
Mighty
so
Boba
many
and
supplier
Canada
issues,
explained on Facebook
shortages.
that they would have to serve a
It's
smaller
crazy.
quantity of tapioca pearls in each drink and would no longer be offering extra as an option due to a shortage of this ingredient. Bing's Boba Tea in Tucson, Arizona said much the same 1 week later, and Tea Hut in San Francisco, California then announced that they would have to raise their prices due to a 26% rise in their ingredient costs.
Wow.
All across the country, shops selling this popular Taiwanese drink simply could not get ingredients in the quantities demanded, despite no dramatic increase in demand. However, thousands of miles away in Taiwan, where much of the world's bubble tea ingredients are made, things were operating fairly normally. With single-digit daily case numbers for much of COVID's reign, factories on the island were able to work at full force in a way they couldn't elsewhere, but still, somehow, Boba Bliss, Mighty Boba, Bing's Boba Tea, Tea Hut, and thousands of other shops across the U.S. couldn't get their product.
We love you. You're very special.
And more with what was happening here, in the waters off the coast of Los Angeles. Throughout the first half of 2021, a rotating cast of dozens of cargo ships have dotted the Pacific's horizon. Each sat there at anchor, sometimes for weeks, until it's not open for them at the port of Los Angeles or Long Beach. This is abnormal. While the year prior, it was possible for a ship or two to have to wait a day or two, it was never dozens of ships.
Yeah, so there's ships just sitting there waiting for weeks to undock because there's not enough workers.
Represents a near doubling of shipping times. The root cause of this was, of course, a perfect pandemic-fueled storm. As the 2020 holiday season approached, more people were getting back to work in the US, consumer spending was ticking up, and online shopping was exploding. With limited access to travel, restaurants, shows, and other services, physical products were one of the few ways people could spend their discretionary income. More goods than ever were coming from factories in Asia, and 49.1% of those imports to the US passed through one of just two ports, Los Angeles and Long Beach. Compared to a year prior, before COVID hit the U.S. in earnest,
so it's just a higher demand.
Saw a 31% increase in ships and a 49% increase in container traffic at these two ports. They just couldn't keep up. Simultaneously, however, a significant tranche of dock workers were constantly out sick due to COVID itself or the quarantine procedures it demanded. But the disorder doesn't end there. While a year ago, a 20-foot container would cost about $1,800, they now run for $3,500. There's a regional shortage of shipping containers that's having global consequences. You see, in 2020, just as much of the world entered lockdowns, China's manufacturing industry.
Investing in commodities is probably not a bad idea.
See, when I was watching this video, I thought he was going to go ahead and say that there's a shortage of shipping containers because everybody's making
those destination countries' lockdowns,
making what?
Tiny homes out of them.
Oh.
For every 100 containers that are imported into the US.
But thinking about it, you invest in commodities like toilet paper. Just imagine if you would have bought a bunch of toilet paper right before the lockdown, you could have been selling that toilet paper for 10 times its value. People would buy it.
Yeah,
People are stealing. People are actually breaking into businesses to steal toilet paper.
Yeah, and you get caught up. You didn't see all the people that get caught up for that?
Back from their final
What?
destinations,
For doing that? For hoarding stuff like that and then selling it in times of a pandemic?
Yeah, they
Is
get.
that against the law, right?
No, that was the
same. Against the law, I think it's like a misdemeanor or some shit. You gotta pay like a fine. So basically, everything you make is nothing. It makes it unprofitable.
Oh yeah, you can't make profits from a crisis or whatever. Technically, but people do it all the time.
I mean, if you're low key about it, sure, but
yeah, I mean, you can't physically do. Yeah,
you have to sell it to like your neighbors and stuff in hopes that they don't like report you.
Yeah.
Mixed with reduced supply as a result of a fire at a major
But if you're selling it to your friends and neighbors, you're a dick.
Prices and insufficient availability. As restaurants pivoted to takeout and delivery, bulk ketchup was out and single-serve packets were in.
But you could barter trade.
Significantly to increase production capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
The packets became scarce, and companies started successfully selling them for $10 per 50
I don't know.
on eBay.
Me personally, it's just kind of one of the things. Like if I had some and somebody didn't, I'd give them some. So then later on down the road, when I'm out of something, and they have it.
The state relies heavily on its summer tourism season, and after missing it last year, 2021 season is crucial. Facing uncertainty about the legality of their operation until May, cruise companies canceled many of their summer sailings to Alaska.
Yeah, I'm never going on a cruise.
Why?
They scare me.
They scare you? Why?
Yeah, you're on international waters, so there's no laws, like no jurisdiction, so people go missing all the time and nothing happens.
Yeah, it is
the boat
conception.
is considered national, like sovereign territory to whatever landmass it's from.
Yeah.
So all laws apply on the boat that were pertaining to that nation.
Lucky few who do find one, current market rates.
J-Pat here's been on a cruise, so he knows personally.
Yeah, I've been on quite a few.
Which cruise? Where to?
I've been Carnival. I've been to Jamaica, all over Mexico.
During the depths of the pandemic,
You're not worried about that at all? Not scared of anything happening?
No, not really. When I was a kid, when I went on my first one, as we were leaving the United States, we were actually escorted by like 5 boats with machine guns attached to them. I mean, that was pretty like eye-opening and kind of scary, but no, I didn't really think of it when I was young. I haven't been on a cruise since I was a lot younger. I think the last time I went when I was like 17 or 18, but I never
Why
really
would you
thought
have
of
to be
it.
escorted with
I don't know. I'm not really sure why we were. I don't know, but it was weird.
Something like that stood out to him, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sovereign, that still counts as sovereign territory. So.
Yeah, but there were definitely like, so like whenever we would go to another country, it was legal for me to drink, but when I got back on the boat, you could not drink, and that's the same for any other laws, like smoking weed or like anything along those lines. Like while you were on the boat, you had to abide by United States laws.
Interesting.
It was the perfect storm of circumstances.
This guy likes to say
I'm
perfect
pretty sure that
storm.
still applies like for transatlantic cruises. And shit
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
COVID led to production shutdowns in certain areas.
You guys notice this guy likes to say perfect storm a lot,
People spend more time at home,
which I would agree. I mean, COVID is the perfect storm to take. It's a perfect storm as me. I feel like it's a perfect biological weapon if you wanted to, like, you know, take over the world like China did.
This year, and this is why you can't get a rental car in Alaska. In a twist of cruel irony, the car industry is culpable for all of this. That's because decades ago, the very industry that is now suffering the hardest propagated a system that made shortages such as this so possible. 80 years ago,
I think what's going to happen is we're just going to become automated, like more automation. This is going to be not financial advice, but I'm invested in artificial intelligence for this reason, because I think that the supplier issues are not going to, they're not going to be solved on their own, obviously. And the work shortages aren't going to go away. Like, that's never going to, like, the markets aren't going to go back to the way they were. So eventually, we're going to have to use automation to keep up with demand. And I think a lot of the service industries, a lot of the jobs that exist now could be fully automated with the technology that we have. I mean, think about it, even Uber, like, won't even need to have Uber drivers when you have Teslas that could self-drive themselves.
But are we ever going to get to a point where we trust self-driving cars? I think, I mean, we're at least going to have someone behind a wheel of some sort that could take control of it. I don't think I would ever trust that.
I know that's crazy to think, but we can't even fathom what technology can bring us. You know, just imagine what the world was like 100 years ago. I mean, those people who lived 100 years ago couldn't imagine, you know, being able to order food from a device on your phone or call somebody.
Or literally in the infancy. And 100 years ago.
Well, let's say 200 years ago then. 200 years.
And 1820?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could anybody?
To 1820, they'd burn you at the stake or shoot you.
If you were even to talk about
like
that.
An alien or something, I swear.
Yeah.
Or just
it'd be crazy. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So my point.
They wouldn't even understand your language.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's 200 years. I mean, and then 20 years ago, you know, we didn't, you know, 30 years ago, I forget how old I am now. So let's say 30 years ago, the internet, like, was just becoming a thing.
We still had CD players.
Yeah.
And floppy disks.
There was no such thing as a smartphone. No JPEGs.
We didn't even have SD cards, hardly.
Yeah.
Windshields. And it should only start making windshields when the final assembly.
I mean, I see it being a thing, but I see where JPAD's at, so I foresee there being like a center where there's like ITs that can, if in case something happens, or I don't know, they can take direct control of the vehicle or whatnot. I see that being like some kind of safety feature, but I do see it being a way of the future or something, because it's going to be one of those things where it's like it's going to eliminate fuel consumption all over the world, because we're going to be able to automate these cars to drive at a certain speed, and it's going to eliminate accidents completely. It's a no-brainer. So it's just one of those things that's going to happen, everybody. You're going to have to give up your cars.
Well, I don't think it's ever going to eliminate.
It's part of the New World Order.
It won't eliminate accidents. I think there will be accidents. It may eliminate the amount of accidents, but I think there will always be accidents.
I understand that. That's just how it's going to be sold.
Here's this is what really fascinates me about is, like, Tesla, their self-driving cars, they are reporting, you know, they're not just a car company, they are a data company. All those cars are reporting back data to Tesla, And that artificial intelligence is learning and programming based off of its experience on driving the road, reporting that data back, and that intelligence is getting smarter and smarter. So their programming, when it comes to automation and the road conditions and everything, that is all getting sent back to Tesla and reprogramming and making their system smarter. So yeah, eventually these self-driving cars will become so advanced and so smart that you would probably, if you, a person 100 years from now will tell you you're crazy if you were to try to drive a car yourself. Like they would say, dude, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you just let the technology do it? Like they're
more in the future will go so fast we won't be able to drive them.
Or yeah, even that. I mean, there's already Elon Musk was talking about a hypersonic airplane. I think we mentioned this in the last live stream.
I foresee a hypersonic like train being a thing first.
Yeah.
And there's talks.
Well, I mean, like hypersonic aircrafts. I mean, you probably don't have people driving them. You're just they're just gonna be botted. Like you just fly them with a remote control.
Yeah, I was gonna say having passengers on a hypersonic plane, that seems a little deadly right now.
Right.
No, what I was gonna say, the other thing about Tesla and its gathering information is it's also gathering information when the driver drives, and so it's able to tell, Tesla's able to tell the people that are, trying to set speed limits and stuff, being like, these are the road conditions that these drivers are having to stay safe within driving conditions. Because it has all the sensors and stuff, so it can see that there's cars behind it, next to it, stuff, and it's having to stay at this speed, even though, like, say it's 7 to drive at 75, even though the speed limit's 65, to stay safe. So we need to change the speed limit so other people are safe, because people that are trying to drive the speed limit and not get tickets are going to get in accidents because other people that are in a hurry and they're not driving the speed limit and they're almost rear-ending them or merging over and da-da-da. There's also that on the other hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. So let's talk more about inflation. What are ways to, what do you guys think inflation is going to be like, let's say 2 years from now?
I can see it getting up to at least 10, 11% before it gets better.
Eesh.
I don't like that prospect, but I can see it. Because we still have, 2-ish more years of Biden?
Yeah, I think so.
And we're already at 7-8%, and we were at the start of Biden's term. Where were we at? Like 4? 3 or 4? Can anybody find out for me?
What inflation was at?
When Biden took, what was inflation at when Biden took office?
When did he take office? It was 2020, right?
Yeah.
The start of COVID, or that was the beginning of the COVID situation? Or was it 2021?
I think it was January 2021.
Yeah. So it was about a year after the COVID lockdowns.
First year of presidency, 3.9% unemployment rate, 5.2% economic growth, negative 2% real wages.
Nothing on inflation.
I'm looking for inflation.
Inflation rates from here we go. Current U.S. inflation rates from 2000 to 2022. All right. So so in 2020,
it went from 2.5 to 4.7.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm looking at that too. Okay, I see.
Yeah, it was March of 2021. It was at 2.6, and then April 4.2, 5.0, 5.4. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The average was So from
it's just
2020 to 2021, it was 4.7.
Okay, the average. I see the average.
Yeah, 1.2 to 4.7.
So the average for when did he take office? 21?
Yeah, January of 21.
Okay, so 2015 was the lowest. Go back. That's the lowest you can go back 0.1. It goes, so then Trump takes 0.1, 1.3, then 2, 2.4, and then it goes back down to 1. 2020 at the end of his term is at 1.2, and then it jumps up to 4.7. And right now we're in 2022, March. Okay, and we're already at what, 7%?
7.9.
7.9. Okay. We've already almost doubled it in less than 4 months.
Yeah, things are going to get bad, because if you look at the last financial crisis, we roll back to 2000. It was 3.4, 2.8, 1.6. So it was in the 2s and 3s.
2008? You talking about 2008 when the market crashed?
Yeah, it was at 3.8.
You said 2000. My bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2000 was at 3.4, and then it went from 2.8, and then it went from 1.6. So it went down, and then it started going back up. So the financial crisis happened in 2008 to 2009, and went from a 3.8 to a negative 0.4. So yeah, we were at 7.9.
Yeah, I don't even see anything like that. The highest anywhere on the chart
never been that high before.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it doesn't go back. And I know we're at like a record high from like 1979 or 82 or something like that.
We would have to go back to what was inflation rate.
The highest inflation rate to
chart
was like 82, I believe.
Or historical chart. I want to know what inflation rates was back like in the era. Look, U.S. inflation rate by year 1929 to 2023. Let's take a look at this. 1929 was negative, or it was 0.6%, and then it dropped into negatives.
Yeah, the Great Depression.
Yeah, it was being deflated. That was the Great Depression.
Right there, market crash. 1929.
Look at this. The last time inflation has been this high was the start of World War II, was 1941. 9.9%. 1942, 9%. Look at that, guys. 1946, 18%. And it says events affecting inflation. They said it was the budget cuts. Truman ended World War II. Pearl Harbor was 9. So to me, guys, historically, when inflation's high, a big war starts. Cold War spending.
Go to 54.
Dow returned to 1929 high, negative 0.7%. Yeah, and look at that. 1969, it went up to 6%. Nixon took office, and then recession 1970. Wage price control, stagflation, end of gold standard. Look at that. End of gold standard and Watergate, 12%. Stopgap monetary policy confused businesses and kept prices high, 6.9. Inflation was high back in the 70s. But there was also, so obviously there was a lot of expansion though too. There was a lot of growth. And then the reason why these recessions were even happening is because there was so much growth, and then it needed to recede it back. It like we overstepped, and then we had to cut back. And then looks like 1990, things started leveling off in the 90s. Let's just say after the 1991, after the Cold War ended. It was in the 2s, 3%, all the way until 2021. We are back to the pre-1991 era, back to the Cold War era. Literally, that is literally, to me, this tells me after the Soviet Union collapsed, the world was at peace from 1991 to probably about 2020. The world was at peace, and that was when inflation was the lowest. That's when the United States probably had the most power and control globally. Now, remember, we were building really strong relations with China too during this time. So yeah, I think this is a signal that things are going to be looking back to the way things were in the 1940s. Historically, that's what this is telling me.
Yeah.
That's
you think
just
there'll
crazy.
Be another Pearl Harbor 9/11 thing style happen?
I honestly, what scares me the most is probably what scares me the most that's more realistic for like Russia, Putin to do is an EBT attack or a what am I saying? Electromagnetic pulse EMP attack. There you go. Where they'll drop the nuke high in the atmosphere.
Order 66.
Yeah, that's it right there. Let's get a map real quick. Let me just Google Maps here. Shoot, what the heck? No, I want actual Google Maps. Here we go. Zoom out. Yeah. You just drop an EMP right here in the center of the country, like high above the atmosphere. They said that the radius of the EMP could wipe out almost the entire country. That means all, yeah. That means all of your electronics are toast. You have no cell phones, no internet, no power. Your power grids are melted. Everything's closed. Yeah, because there's no power, no running water. That would cause more destruction, more harm than just nuking a city.
I'm putting it up on the stream. Here's
that would cause way more harm.
Do what?
On the stream
indirectly.
Radius of electromagnetic.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep, there it is. Potential area of exposure to high altitude electromagnetic pulse. Yeah, I see it.
So you're wanting to go to Maine?
Yeah, Maine's or high up
Unless
above
they
Alaska.
they shifted over to the right some, because they're
Yeah.
hitting some ocean over there on the left or in the west.
I think they would aim more towards the west coast, anyways. Easier reach, unless they're shooting from Cuba or Venezuela.
Just like that.
I think it would probably hit most of the west coast. I think they would. I don't know.
So theoretically, if they were to do such a thing, how long do you think they would wait before they started an invasion, or do you think they just use the EMP to dismantle us and then leave us to our own devices while they take?
They won't. Yeah, they dude. An EMP attack would just cause so much havoc. Like the whole. I mean, it would just end the world. Really, it could.
You don't think there's backup?
What would happen was we would be sanctioned off from the world at that point.
You think every other nation would leave us to die?
Leave us to die? Yeah. No. Of course you'd have but I think you would probably drop one on Europe too. Do one on Europe and one on the United States. Because then how could we? I mean, could we use our nuclear defenses after that? Like, could we even shoot nukes after that?
I'm pretty sure they're shielded from those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we could also shoot from space now too. So obviously there's a reason why.
Oh yeah, the moon base.
Yeah. There's a reason why Russia hasn't dropped anything on us yet, because we still got guns on their foreheads somehow, and we don't know. Nobody knows. Only they know. Only our top intelligence knows. And it has to stay that way in order for us to stay dominant.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that point, but even if, let's say, they get this jump on us and everything goes according to plan and they whatever, and we're not able to launch the nukes, or we decide that just nukes are not the option, like nobody wants to press the button, what do you think happens then? Like, everybody talks the talk, but what if nobody walks the walk and nobody presses?
Well, that's what I think would happen. Is I think if
EMPs are not necessarily they are nukes in the terms, but they're not lethal nukes, and they're above atmosphere. They just take out.
Yeah, they're not directly killing anyone, but it would kill millions of people indirectly from starvation, from
planes would
malnutrition.
Drop out of the sky.
Yeah, planes would drop out of the sky. And,
no, I get that point, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, what if like the world-ending nukes button was never pressed? What do you think happens then?
Then
we all come to
starts.
Right. And what do you think goes down?
We would. I don't know, honestly.
Because
I don't.
Well, I only ask that because I just kind of.
It really depends how powerful the EMPs are, and because if our military is not crippled, see, the thing is our military is pretty mobile and it's global too. So we have forces all over the world. I think we would definitely have a lot of special op forces invading Moscow, for sure.
What if it's not Moscow that they're coming from?
Well, who else would it be from?
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be Moscow.
It could be North Korea. It could be Iran.
Yeah, I was gonna
maybe
say it could be anybody. I'm just saying, what if it happens and nobody presses the button because they don't know where it came from? What do you think happens then? Because unfortunately, I've said it before, but unfortunately, Nah, about, what is it, 3 or 4 times now? We've come out of a crisis, like financial crisis has been solved by war, because war is a very beneficial thing in terms of industry and manpower and production and innovation. That's all I'm saying. And it's been proven that World War I was at least orchestrated for that benefit alone.
Yeah.
So, all I'm saying is.
So, are you saying that we're going? These wars are taking place directly solely for profit, and at the end game, like nobody has the intentions of using these nukes. It's just strategically, it's a strategy.
Yeah, it's a deterrent.
Not necessarily a deterrent. It's a fear tactic for the masses to get behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If that's what you're getting from what I'm saying, then yeah, I agree. Yeah, right there. You completely 100% get what I'm saying. For pretty much. Sorry, I have a sinus infection. Everybody.
COVID.
Yeah. COVID.
No, not COVID. I got the antibodies. No, I didn't get the vaccine. But it's just a sinus infection. But no, I can definitely sit here and say that these wars are at least not for profit, have been orchestrated for power and control, 100%. And if you're gonna argue with me and tell me otherwise, I'm gonna have to call you ignorant, and you know nothing. Because yeah, they may be for political, and yeah, they may be for like freedom and da 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 da. Yeah, sure. But there's got to be somebody that's behind it, that's orchestrating it for either control, power, or profit. At the end of the day. Sure.
So what do you think what would happen after an EMP attack? What would happen?
Over where?
Over the United States.
Over just the United States?
Yep.
We'd steal each other's toilet paper.
Probably.
Honestly, I think that's what would happen. I would say we would be not in a position to attack, especially if we didn't know who it was from or anything. I think we would spend. I don't think anybody would know what the heck was going on. I think deep down, our intelligence would figure something out, and then when we would probably have like secret operations to start acting on that. But majority of the country would have no idea what the fuck's going on. And we would be like in survival mode. It would be like fucking Walking Dead without the zombies.
Just killing each other for resources. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
basically.
It'd be like Jericho on Netflix.
Yeah. I still need to watch that.
It's so good. You gotta watch it.
That's what happens in Jericho?
Pretty much, except for
Dude, I haven't watched that show in a very long time.
Actually, it's
I'm gonna have to watch
nukes
that.
going off.
Oh yeah, dude, I gotta watch that. In
It's
fact,
like
I'm about to get
26
off now to
nukes.
watch that.
26 nukes going off in major cities, and one was supposed to go off in like Cleveland, and it doesn't, and it pretty much follows this CIA guy. And the crazy thing about that show is that there's like a whole comic book series that it was kind of based on, and there's so much like lore on like Wikipedia and stuff that you don't even find out in the show, which makes it really cool because you can sit there and like research it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good. You should watch it. It's a binge.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm actually about to get off now to watch it.
All right, everybody.
Seriously. I'm not joking. Get on Jericho, guys. Watch it.
Like and subscribe if you anything you guys want us to talk about next week. Let us know. I should have my camera back as well. Appreciate y'all for being here.
Thank you for your patronage.
Thank you all. Thank you guys.
Don't be rude. We love you. You're very special.
We love you. Thank you guys all for being here. Tune in next week. Let us know in the comments what you guys would like to see. Peace.